The YieldBoost ETFs are some of the highest yielding on the market. They distribute over 100% in many instances. But the problem with that is NAV erosion. Some suffer from a lot of NAV erosion, some suffer from only a little bit. But in this video, I want to showcase two choices that I think are really underrated in the YieldBoost family. One of these is actually outperforming the index it writes its options on. So we're going to break down these ETFs, talk about their performance, and how these funds are actually beating other popular funds like ones by Neos, Tap Alpha, and ProShares. Looking at the entire suite of YieldBoost ETFs, there's a lot. They have quite a few and they keep putting out more. Some of them are really popular, over 70 million in AUM, 80 million in AUM, and 300 million in AUM, TSYY being the most popular. But there are some that aren't as popular. And I think that's really interesting because some of the less popular ones are actually outperforming. So in this video, we're going to look at their underlying index ETFs, meaning we're going to look at YSPY, their S&P 500 ETF, and we're going to look at TQQY, their QQQ ETF. So these are the same style. They're both writing options on these indices, but instead of having a 2x underlying like the rest of the YieldBoost family, they have a 3x. And the reasoning behind that is implied volatility for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 is low. It's a lot lower than the rest of their single stock ETFs. And that is because it's a grouping. It's more diversified and thus a little bit safer. But YSPY is currently distributing 51.07%. And I'm not going to say this is a no NAV erosion ETF because there is some pretty crazy NAV erosion, but the total return I think is really going to surprise you. So with these 3x underlyings, it adds a level of risk, but when you have a good run in both the S&P 500 and QQQ, you have a lot of potential to make not only high distributions, but overall a very good total return. Now, if you're new to the YieldBoost, to the GraniteShares ETFs, they're very interesting. They're some of the highest risk, highest reward ETFs, meaning they pay out the most distribution-wise. They have many that are over 100%, but NAV erosion is always a factor. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. We've shifted from this super high distributing world of ETFs down to a lower, more manageable distribution rate from like 10 to 20%, which I am a fan of, right? I don't like a lot of NAV erosion. I don't like my actual holdings, the money I've put in, to be eroding over time. But there are instances, like with these ETFs, where you can still get a very solid total return, even with a little bit of NAV erosion thrown in. And if you can stomach that, these ETFs might be the ones for you. So we can see they pay weekly, which is a major factor. A lot of popularity in weekly payers right now. Last distribution for YSPY was just under 18 cents. What's surprising with TQQY, the QQQ ETF, is that it actually is yielding less than the S&P, which is pretty rare. Most of the time we see these NASDAQ ETFs yielding 2 to 3% more than the S&P counterparts, but same story. It's a 3x on QQQ. And now I want to showcase exactly what I'm talking about with how these two are actually outperforming. It is very interesting to me that YSPY is so small, under 23 million in AUM, even though it's a pretty solid performer in the YieldBoost family. It's also got a really expense ratio of 1.15%. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works in the high yielding weekly dividend ETF space. I've seen many go over one, but it's just, what else can we do? It's expensive to run these options and maintain all of these contracts. Now, SPY is much cheaper. No dividends, small dividend, I should say, but 0.09% and a massive market cap of $717 billion. Now, sliding down, it hasn't been a good year for the beginning of YSPY. It kind of launched right at a crazy time when the market was dumping and has held up decently since then, but it is down 27.65%. Now, SPY is up 19.33% in the same amount of time. So you may look at this and go, well, what's happening? Why would anyone want YSPY? Remember, it's distributing 50%. When we actually go to the total return, it's still pretty far off, right? YSPY is up 11.45%, climbing nicely despite what the price chart looks like, and SPY is up almost 21%. But SPY was rocky early on, and then the last 6 months has been a lot more consistent. So look what happens when we switch and we do total return on the 6-month chart. We actually see YSPY outperforming SPY. And it's not close in a number of instances when SPY is going on a tear. Because YSPY is 3x leverage, you get an amazing performance. At the peak, YSPY was up 12% compared to SPY's 8%. This is, of course, with dividends reinvested. Now, At many of these points, it is outperforming. There are some where they get close, but still, even to date, YSPY is up 14.18% compared to SPY's 11.67%. So, although I'm not a big fan of the NAV erosion side of these things, if YSPY was able to continue and get a 28% return annually, that would be absolutely amazing. This does depend on how SPY is trading. And although I wish I could say the same for TQQY, we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. But YSPY has been an outperformer and a quiet one at that. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for TQQY, right? QQQ is at 412 billion, TQQY is only at 11.4 billion, and in the last 6 months, total return wise, it's underperformed, right? QQQ is up almost 13% and TQQY 4.5. But again, there were instances where TQQY, that's a hard ticker to say over and over again. Same thing with QQQ, is up 3% plus over the NASDAQ 100, right? For a couple month period, actually, from September through November. And then late November, it started to trail off and did not catch up anywhere near. But that's just because of the performance of the Qs. So people will look at these funds and say they're not good funds. You know, there's no point. They have NAV erosion. But there are stints of time where they perform really well and even beat the underlying index, which is not easy to say for a lot of these income funds. We're shifting a lot in the income space, and I've seen more and more of this taking place, which is absolutely amazing, but it all depends on the performance of the underlying. So if anything, I think these are actually interesting to watch. But what really might seal the deal for if you actually would be interested in even researching a fund like this, I want to showcase versus the competition. We're going to look at YSPY versus SPYI, ISPY, and TSPY and see what is the best performing S&P 500 dividend ETF on the market. Now, these scenarios are interesting. You have to understand the market and the cycles that are going through and how the underlying of the S&P 500 is trading to really look at these in depth. But I want to showcase we have GraniteShares, we have Neos, Tap Alpha, and we have ProShare, some of the most popular. Most of these funds, I mean, SPYI is at 7 billion, ISPY 1.2 billion, TSPY almost 200 million, but it is still new and it's the first fund by Tap Alpha. Very impressive. And then YSPY, our smallest. YSPY is also the most expensive of this grouping. So when we scroll down and look at the chart, we can see total return wise for the 1 year, it's interesting. I mean, price return, it's a bit of a bloodbath for YSPY, severely underperforming the rest, which are all still positive compared to being down 27.5%. But if we go to total return and we look, it's still the worst performer. We have TSPY in first place at 19.77%, SPYI at 18.6, ISPY at 16.11, and YSPY at 11.45. But remember what I said. Certain points in the market, depending on how SPY is trading, can be more favorable for the 3x leveraged underlying, in which case we go to the 6-month trend. Now that YSPY has had more time to really solidify and SPY has bounced back a lot better, and we see a complete shift, right? YSPY is now the best performer, and it has been for most of the year. Sorry, most of the 6-month period. Look at this. At one point, up over 2.5% above TSPY. Again, here, up what? 3% over TSPY, and so on and so forth. So, although I don't think these are like long-term holds for me personally, there are times in the market when TSPY is the best performer. And sorry, when YSPY is the best performer. And TSPY, while it is one of my favorites, it is really interesting seeing it be beat by a 3x underlying ETF. So I want to know your thoughts. Are you guys interested in swing trading some of these ETFs, maybe holding them for 3 to 6 months? Maybe you're fine with YSPY and you say, I don't care about the NAV erosion factor. I want good total returns if SPY continues trading this way, and boom, there you go. But let me know down in the comments. And if you're not looking at YSPY or TQQY, let me know if there are any YieldBoost ETFs I should make more videos on, because they do have a very solid fan base. And I know a lot of you guys like, of course, the Tesla ETF is probably the most popular. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see the top 20 no NAV erosion ETFs for 2026, the videos are popping up right now. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Hope to see you in the next video.